Well, I'm not sure if the possibility of a triple threat at SummerSlam is off the cards right now. So, if we could somehow finagle that, that would be fantastic. But if not, obviously, the one reason I'm in SmackDown is to become Universal Champion. So, Roman Reigns is who I want to. I've wrestled John before, I've wrestled Roman before, but what I want is to reclaim the Universal Championship.
You were the first ever Universal Champion in WWE history, and I was at that SummerSlam in Barclays Center. WWE flew me in as a German announcer, and I remember that vibe backstage. I mean, everybody was so happy for you, but everybody was also so sad because you got hurt. What do you remember about that day? I think there was this really sad vibe because how can you not like Finn Balor? I mean, the guy's been in Mexico and Japan and NXT. Finally, he's getting his break. He's getting the title. And then something like that happens. That must have been heartbreaking.
I found it very typical of the journey of my career to, get to the point where you've always aspired to be and then like to put another obstacle in my way. And I've overcome obstacles my whole career, whether it was being a smaller competitor or, traveling overseas to work in a different promotion. And, for me, it was kind of very poetic in the sense that I placed another obstacle in my way that I had to overcome. So, it was sad in the moment, but I learned so much from that experience. I grew as not only a performer, but as a human. And, I think it's left me in a better place now. And also it's given me, an incentive to continue to drive to reclaim the Universal Championship.
That's a great mindset. I'm being very selfish here with my questions, but the WWE Universe from Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, they've sent in a ton of questions. And this actually fits to my Finn Balor story in Germany because Dietmar wants to know, you've performed in Germany with WWE, but also before that time. Do you remember anything specific about your time in Germany?
WXW in Overhausen, I think, and also Hamburg. But I remember the WXW fans being like allowed right up at ringside, and they would slam on the ring apron, and that was one of the coolest experiences, to be in the ring and so close to the fans. The German fans have always, treated me well, but I've also treated pro wrestling well, and they really, respect pro wrestling. And, it's such a great fan base that getting to begin my journey there on the independents and then, return there with WWE was very cool. And, hopefully the way the world is starting to kind of gradually open back up again, we'll be back out there very soon.
By the way, there are some WXW shows on the WWE Network, for those who don't know, because the show is getting more international. So I want to get the fans to know the German scene also, Yeah. So next question is from Saskia. When did you realize that you want to become a sports entertainer?
Watching, very young, Ravishing Rick Rude, Coco Beware, the British Bulldogs, I was always amazed by these larger than life characters. And then kind of when I got into my teens, I was completely obsessed with, Shawn Michaels, X-Pac, D-Generation X, all that. And I remember thinking, wow, maybe this is going to be a little bit of a stretch for a kid from Ireland to be able to go to WWE, but I want to be somehow involved in pro wrestling. So my first idea was, I read these wrestling magazines and there's photographers ringside that are taking photos of all these matches. Maybe I can get closer and I can be a pro wrestling photographer. And that was my first kind of, footsteps into how I can get into pro wrestling industry. From there, when I was 18, I was kind of heavily involved in sports in school. And I said, you know what, I'm going to try this pro wrestling. And I found a school in England, Hammerlock Pro Wrestling, started traveling over there every month. And one thing led to another, and here I am.
A question from Zebo. When did you start training? At what point of time? How old were you?
I was 18 years old. It was 2000, the year 2000. So a lot ago
now. You trained for a long time. You trained in Japan also. Could you elaborate on that? Because I don't think that what training in Japan means, because it's quite different.
Yes, so I'd trained in England for 6 years, and I'd felt like, although I was still progressing, like the curve at which I was progressing was starting to slow, and I felt like I needed to kind of change my environment to grow a little bit. And I got accepted into the New Japan Pro Wrestling Dojo, which is one of the most notoriously difficult dojos in the world to train at. And yeah, it was basically, I was taken in as what they call a young boy, which is like an apprentice, and all you do is train every day. And you know, you train with the more experienced wrestlers in the morning. Then after training, you wash their training gear, you clean up the dojo, you clean up the ring, you prepare the food for the the senior wrestlers, and it's essentially like you serve an apprenticeship as a professional wrestler. The training is very, very strict, like extremely strict. We would wake up, we would do 500 climbs, 10 sets of chin-ups, and that's before we start sparring and worry about any of the wrestling stuff. So it was it was really based on discipline and instilling that belief in yourself that physically you will be able to handle anything that's thrown at you in the ring.
There are several people that are demanding you to show your abs. I don't want to demand that, but I have a question, and it's also a selfish one, because you always seem to be in immaculate shape. I mean, your shape doesn't change whether you're on the road or you're coming back from an injury. You're always in great shape. So what's the secret? I mean, Pat McAfee always talks about the 8-pack or the 10-pack when he's in a better mood even. What's the secret there? Give me some insight.
There's no magic. It's consistency. I'm a creature of habit, and I do the same things every day, day after day for 40 years almost now. So it's not, I don't really get geared up for one special match. I know a lot of guys try to peak for WrestleMania or peak for SummerSlam, and maybe with the peaks there comes valleys. But for me, I'd rather just go consistent and maintain at a certain level. And that's what I do, is I train at a level that I know I can consistently train at every day.
Does the Prince have a cheat meal from time to time?
Actually, recently I've been having a lot more cheat meals, and I'm very thankful that it's not affected me as much as I had anticipated in younger years. So ramen, I'm extremely interested in ramen right now. Cheeseburgers, like right up there, top of the list, and pizza as well.
There you go. There you go. Another question here from the fans. Can you please explain the origin of the name Finn Balor?
So there's that he's called Finn. In Irish mythology, there is a character called Finn McCool, who in the story fights a one-eyed demon king called Balor. So it was bringing the two characters together, and the kind of, two sides to Finn Balor, as in, the good hero that wants to fight evil, and the demon version together. Obviously, the Easter egg in that is that it's also my dad's name. So it was kind of a combination, and it was meant to be.
This question is from Niels. You mentioned the demon. Is there a chance that the demon will ever return?
You're hitting me with the hard questions. Yeah, obviously, yeah. I feel like the demon definitely has a future, but right now I'm very focused on, the Prince and this current invention of the character and the direction that we're going. But I'm sure we will get back to the demon at some stage.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Was there a specific moment when you decided to use body paint, and what was your inspiration? JJ, Too Sweet For You, wants to know.
Yeah, I had actually currently transitioned to being a heel wrestler, which was a bad guy in Japan. And I wanted to somehow change my image and how I looked, because I'd wrestled as, a babyface for so long. And, the fans would, visually associate my image with being, a good guy and the old, good characteristics that I had. So I wanted to completely change that. And the first idea was, okay, if the good guy is like the light, I want to be the darkness. And my original idea was just to paint myself completely black, so I would look like a shadow on the ring, because it was in a big arena, and this good guy Kota Ibushi, the Japanese wrestling was facing the dark, evil foreign wrestler of Prince Devitt at the time. And that was the original idea. And it kind of evolved from being this dark shadow to the demon.
Interesting. Is it too late to wish you a happy birthday, by the way?
No, not at all. Not at all.
So happy birthday. um, Becky Lynch once referred to the saying, imagine how your life would be if you didn't meet the one person that changed everything. And for her, she said that that person was you. How does that make you feel when somebody says something so respectful like that?
Obviously, it's a beautiful thing to hear, and for her to say that. But I feel like I've gone on the record before in saying that, Becky was a star before she ever met me. She just didn't know it. And, she came to the training center that we had in Bray County, Wicklow, and she was already destined for greatness. And we just provided a location for her to, practice her passion and her love, and use that as, use that location as a springboard to get to where she wanted to go. It wasn't anything that, I done or any of the other coaches done. It was limitations people put on you, and go out there and fly.
No boundaries. The juice is worth the squeeze. Are you still a big Lego fan? Because I watched your WWE Network documentary last night and I found that interesting. Are you still a Lego fan?
Still a Lego fan, but I want to say in the last 2 years I've not built any new connection and everything, but with the way life has gone and being so busy with the schedule, I've kind of, gone into different aspects. I'm still like a huge Lego nerd at heart, but, no new pieces in the last year or two.
No Legos, but you added some new tattoos. Why did you get them? And
Two, and a couple of years ago, I just kind of stopped worrying about if I was going to really like this in the future or not, and just started to add some little things that I felt had meaning to me, and I'm sure the collection is going to grow over the next couple of years. It's been a little difficult to kind of fit the tattoos in between wrestling matches and having the time to heal and stuff, but I'm sure in the future there's going to be a lot more tattoos.
how happy are you to be back on the road, by the way? I mean, there has to be some pros and some cons to that, right?
Yeah, obviously it was incredible the way WWE adapted to the pandemic and continued to produce TV week after week. And I feel very fortunate that we were able to do that, but doing it at the same location, it's just not the same as being on the road and being like in a new city every night and getting to travel. And obviously it's a little uncertain right now. With it makes me very happy. the first night back against Sami Zayn, like when I returned, like I was on a high, so high I can't explain. The first night after the match with Sami Zayn, just the interactions with the crowd, the adrenaline was so high I didn't even go to sleep that night. You know, I went and rode the wave right into Saturday and stayed up all day Saturday. So, you know, the adrenaline that the fans give you is something that can't be described.
When I think of Finn Balor, I think of NXT. What does NXT mean to you? Because I think you were
If even if I left, I would return to Japan and finish my career there. And then, you know, I encountered NXT and what NXT is, and the camaraderie within the group of performers there. And NXT just became something that was like in my heart, you know. And
that
I
was
feel
actually my next question. Will it always have a special
I grow so much in NXT. I feel like I really feel a part of the team. It feels like you know, a bond among the guys that are there, you know, not only the guys in the ring, but, you know, the staff behind the scenes and the producers and the trainers. And, you know, it's something that I really feel attached to and really feel passionate about, and something that, you know, I know I've had two runs there, and, you know,
shape or form meant in a diminishing sort of way? Because on the contrary, I think it values you as a performer because everything you did there was so meaningful. I mean, I was at several takeovers. I remember you and Samoa Joe in the main event. I think it was Dallas back then. So you must be proud of everything you've
really developed into its own third brand. And, you know, it's a completely unique, you know, in-ring wrestling style, you know, separate from Raw, separate from SmackDown, challenges you in much different ways, you know, physically and mentally. And, you know, it's something that, you know, not everyone can just ping between each brand and be successful. And to, to be able to have done that, you know, at different stages in my career is something that I'm very proud of. And, you know, obviously, you know, people say, hey, you know, you went back to NXT, but really it's for, you know, in a sense they're saying you went back as in you went down to NXT, but, you know, for me it's a lateral move that, you know, you just, you know, you switch from Raw to SmackDown or NXT, you know, they're not at different levels for me. So so yeah. I can't even remember what the question was.
how proud are you of everything you've done in NXT? But I get the message. I mean, you're very proud and rightfully so. And I definitely agree. NXT is a different cup of tea, but it is on the same level as Raw and SmackDown. It is just something different. And everybody that has never seen NXT or watched NXT, give it a try on the WWE Network. It's a great show. And I think you are responsible, among others, that NXT is where it is today. And I want to thank you for that because I'm a big fan. Um, 2 years ago, that's a great question by Mr. T here. 2 years ago, you said on WWE After the Bell that you feel like you're having 8 more years of performing left in you. So is it 6 now or is it even more?
Crazy, because when I was like 29, which seems like a long time ago now, I felt like, oh, maybe I've got 5 years left. And now that, you know, I'm a little older and a little smarter and a little wiser, I feel like I've got at least five, if not 10 left in the tank. So, you know, if I'm smart, if I'm economical with my movements, you know, if I kind of pick my battles, you know, I definitely think, you know, I got 5+ years left in the tank for sure.
You speak of economic movements. Has your training changed over the years? I mean, by the way, what does a typical week look like? Get that eight pack. I want to get in great shape. I'm 40 now, you know, I have to change some things around. I can't do the stuff that I did when I was 25.
Yeah, yes, same. Obviously, you know, 40 years old, but there's no key, there's no magic, there's zero cardio. I do absolutely zero cardio. For years, I kind of countered that question with, well, I wrestle 4 times a week, so that's once a week or sometimes once every 2 weeks. So that kind of reply to that question seems invalid right now, but I haven't added any cardio to my regime. You know, I try and keep carbohydrates as low as possible. So like, you know, I'm not eating like a lot of bread or a lot of pasta or rice or anything like that. Stick with whole foods as best that I can. But recently my training I've moved from like doing a lot of heavy weights to a lot of like accessory work. So a lot of like single leg movements, a lot of, you know, single arm movements, and just really like worried about balance, worried about, you know, I don't want to say conditioning, but kind of not so emphasized on strength and more, you know, on technique and timing.
Functional movements.
Yeah. So, you know, really not a lot. I'm training maybe 4 tops 5 times a week, but it's really like a 40-minute session and that's it. And, you know, I get in there, a little bit of legs one day, a little bit of upper body the next day, and, you know, just flip it back and forth.
I hate pistol squats, by the way, because you're saying single leg movements. I hate them. Um, you had the opportunity to scout all the NXT superstars very closely in the last 2 years. Who do you want to follow you to SmackDown? Dennis wants to know that.
Wow. Someone I've been a very big fan of for a very long time is Adam Cole. And
Baby.
Bay. And you know, both in and out of the ring, you know, he's an incredible professional, you know, inside of the ring, but also outside of the ring, and a great human, and someone that, you know, I would love to get a chance to face on SmackDown.
Do you know the level of goosebumps I have when you say that? Because I'm such a nerd. I started watching WWE in 1990. That's when I started. That's how old I am. It gives me goosebumps for you just saying that, you know. Make it happen. Please make it happen. Besides winning back the Universal Championship, what else do you want to do in WWE?
Oof, just
Bucket list.
yeah. Really, I'm very fortunate that, you know, I've overachieved any ambition that I ever had as a child, you know, in this industry. Really just to continue to be creative, to continue to be consistent, and continue to be healthy are really the main kind of goals that I have. And, you know, if I can continue to, you know, find happiness in my work, which is something that I feel is, you know, one of the most valuable things on earth, you know, I'm more than satisfied. I'm not really, you know, goal orientated in the sense of, you know, winning championships or titles or WrestleMania. You know, I've very fortunate that I've done all that before. So right now, you know, I just want to continue to be creative and, you know, enjoy my time.
Talk, you mentioned Coco Beware, and I always ask people who their inspirations were and their favorite superstars. Nobody has ever said Coco Beware, and I also liked him as a kid. I think he had a great missile dropkick, by the way. But what did you take away from Coco Beware? I find that so intriguing.
Just he was like at the time a smaller guy in like the land of giants, and then obviously, you know, colorful character. He had a bird with him, you know, he done like a lot of high flying stuff. So it was just something that, you know, maybe now, you know, I don't relate to, but at the time it was like he was one of my favorite guys to watch. And you know, you can never really put your finger on what it is you like or dislike about someone. I remember like Dino Bravo, like when he would come on the TV, like, as a kid I would be like, get this guy off the TV, you know. I just didn't enjoy it. And, you know, as Coco Beware, I really enjoyed it. And on the flip side, you know, I'm not supposed to enjoy Ravishing Rick Rude, but I did. So it was like, there's no way to, you know, explain how a child or anyone is gonna, you know, interact with these characters, or, you know, what they're gonna relate to. So maybe that's one of the things that I found so interesting as a fan.
Man, it's so beautiful to talk to you about that time, because you basically just mentioned my childhood. I mean, I saw Bret Hart versus Dino Bravo in Munich. I think it was 91 or 92. And I also hated Dino Bravo. And I loved Bret Hart. And it's everything in a nutshell that sports entertainment is. It is the great idol, the good guy that fights for all the right values, and the other guy that wants to destroy everything. And it really took me on this roller coaster ride. Same way here, big fan. Couple of questions before I.
Just before we go on, talking about Bret Hart, like that was someone, you know, who you're kind of, you know, he's a character designed for me to love, but for me, it didn't, I don't know, it didn't like
Resonate?
didn't resonate, didn't touch, you know, the right chords. And I don't know, it just, when he would come on, I was like, I know he's a good guy, but it just didn't really, you know, didn't really sit with me until like being much older and, you know, understanding the business more and seeing how, you know, he was one of the best ever in the ring. But, you know, as a child, that didn't like register with me at all. And it's like, this guy's, he's good at wrestling, but, you know, he's not as cool as Shawn Michaels. So Shawn Michaels is cooler for me. You know, as a kid now, I watch and I go, wow, everything this guy done was like flawless. But it's so interesting to see how you know, you interpret things as you know, as a younger man, or just, you know, from fans.
I'm going to tell you something really embarrassing right now. My brother and me, we used to dress up as the Heart Foundation, and we didn't have the money to buy the gear. So we took my mom's yoga pants, pink yoga pants, you know, and we were the Heart Foundation. So it's out there.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed at all. Big fan of you, Finn. Stay healthy, and wish you all the best. Keep killing it on SmackDown. And yeah, I will definitely watch the next episode. These 30 minutes went by quick, and I want to thank you for this nice talk.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sebastian.
Hope to have you on again in the future. Hope everybody out there liked it. This was episode 33 of VDE Die Woche. Finn Balor, any last words for the fans?
Just thanks for all the support, and looking forward to getting that out there in front of you guys live again soon.
SmackDown superstar Finn Balor. See you next week, guys. So long. Hackman out.